and welcome to the Stan Simpson Show, a program about Connecticut people and compelling issues. Make it a point to drop in every week. The drama continues in East Haven, a place reeling from federal charges that members of its police department discriminated against Latinos and violated their civil rights. Chief Len Gallo resigned this week. It came days after Mayor Joseph Maturo Jr. completed his latest round of apologies for his insensitive comments. Now some are saying that he should go too. We have diversity consultant Marilyn Alverio and Isai'as Diaz, chairman of the Latino and Puerto Rican Affairs Commission. They join us for a chat about what's next. In our second segment, folks, two former Connecticut politicians are getting back in the mix. We'll assess the chances of Bridgeport's Ernie Newton, a former state senator convicted of corruption, and Chris Shays, a former congressman who wants to run for U.S. Senate. Then we'll wrap things up with our Super Bowl predictions to Bucky Jones and Andrew Pinnock. Two former NFL players will join WTIC-AM Scott Gray to assess Sunday's big game. But first, more drama in New Haven. A return visit. Isai'as Diaz, Marilyn Alverio. So the latest straw to drop now. The police chief has decided to step aside. The drama continues. Your reactions and what next?
Well, it's certainly a sad time for us in our history and journey along the lines of racism, discrimination. This is just a reflection of what's really happening in our country. And this situation brings things to a head. East Haven is not unique. It's not unique in Connecticut, and it's not unique across the country. But the most recent comments by the mayor himself does demonstrate that he is does not have leadership capacity. He recently appointed a Latino a couple of days ago, someone he just met, did not have a relationship with, to an advisory council, and then stated, what, he's not dark enough for you? So he continues, he just doesn't get it. So I believe that there are some major leadership issues going on in East Haven. So
should he go to the mayor? He's next to the line. Should he walk the plank? And if so, how do you begin the next steps to make that happen?
Well, I can tell you that in an official position, the Latino Puerto Rican Affairs Commission has asked for the termination of the police chief and the resignation of the mayor. We met with him actually behind closed doors.
With the mayor?
Yes, that's correct. Of East Haven.
What was his reaction when you met with him? What was he? Was he contrite? Was he arrogant? How would you describe his demeanor?
Well, his demeanor, in all honesty, he did seem very sincere and apologetic. And when we told him our official position, it looked like he was going to pass out.
And your position was that he should step down?
That's correct.
And
yes.
What did he say?
He didn't comment on that, and I can't get into the discussions because we asked for confidentiality. Right. One, so we could air out our laundry and not have to worry about anything, and same with them. Being an attorney, sometimes it's better to have a confidentiality agreement before a discussion so that we could speak candidly and foster some meaningful discussion. There present was myself, State Representative Andres Ayala from Bridgeport, our acting executive director Warno Yanadel, and Senator Len Fasano from the East Haven area as well. And we were actually there present at the request of the mayor.
Now, this federal investigation was pretty comprehensive. I heard that even early they had talked to many folks in the Hartford area, including you. Is that accurate? Did they talk to the feds? Talk to me about this. So the feds talked to you how long ago? And when they started talking to you as a lawyer, you must have sensed, boy, these guys are pretty serious, correct?
Sure. The Latino Puerto Rican Affairs Commission, along with State Representative Juan Candelaria from New Haven and the African American Affairs Commission, initiated this investigation back in 2009 when we first got the complaints. We sent a letter to the U.S. Justice Department and asked them to investigate. Thank the good Lord, they took it seriously and they got involved, and we actually met with them throughout the entire process. So we knew the hammer was going to drop once we received their report that indicated that there was in fact evidence of police bias in the East Haven Police Department.
What kind of questions, we'll get Marilyn one second, what kind of questions did they ask you when they had you there talking to you? What kind of things did they ask you?
Well, it's not so much what they asked us. They just needed someone to steer the direction, and we did so. And by initiating the process, they got involved, and they got their hands dirty and really went to work and produced some great results. It was very productive.
Now, with the chief leaving, I mean, one thing I see as an opportunity, the chief is leaving, pretty soon you're going to have some officers who are leaving. If indeed they've been arrested, indicted, they haven't been convicted, but the feeling is that there'll be more officers coming to the forefront here. You're going to have probably a slew of openings in that department, including the police chief. Let's hear from the police chief in his words. George Colley from Fox Connecticut interviewed him. Let's hear him in his words, then get some thoughts on what it can do about getting more folks of color on the force. Let's hear from the chief. Yeah.
Anything you'd like to suggest to the people?
I love the town. I love the town, and it's been good to me, and I hope I've been good to that. The statement has been made. My lawyers have made their statements. They've done what they've got to do, and now it's time for me to do what I got to do.
Sure.
So please, everyone, understand.
All right. So one head is rolling there. So the question is going to be, at some point, you're going to have a series of openings likely in that department. Should they make a focused effort now to do national searches and bring in qualified folks of color to begin diversifying that ranks? Your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, definitely, but I think that we need to really address the issue of the police chief, you know, stepping down or resigning. Here's where the mayor can take leadership, and I believe LaPrac has asked for the firing of the chief, which is very different from a resignation. A resignation or a stepping down, you are able to leave in good graces. You did a great job in your career, and in this case, this police chief did not. He has a reputation for bullying, harassing, and condoning. So he actually, you know, did not do a good job as a police chief. So there's an issue there.
But his quitting is not good enough then? What you're saying?
He needs to be fired, right, is what we're saying, and I think that's what LaPrac is saying, and that's what other community leaders are saying.
What's the difference at this point? Some may say, well, you know, with the body, he's gone. What's the difference if he gets...
It sends a message, Stan, and I think that's where we are at today is, when are we going to stop and really take racism, racial profiling seriously? And so this is a situation where the leadership of this town could demonstrate that we are going to change, that we are going to do something about it. But the fact of the matter is, there are still many sectors of the community that is silent. There is a silent code around racism, and that is persistent across the board. Until we start to have conversations around this, we are not going to deal with the real issues.
Well,
so the diversity recruiting piece of police officers, but that's not going to change.
All right, we have a minute left. Let me challenge you one thing. The police chief has resigned. He's leaving now, right? So isn't a lot of wasted energy to push? I mean, he will get his sick time if he steps aside, $100,000. It seems to me to be a lot of wasted energy pushing to fire him when the guy's already stepped aside. Why not put that energy into something else, into getting more folks of color on the police department, into forcing the mayor to step down? And that energy to fire him is wasted. He's already stepped aside.
This is a matter of principle at this point. This is not energy that is wasted. This is sending a very clear message that the behavior will not be condoned.
Okay, next step then. Mr. Diaz, now, what do you think will happen next? The mayor, obviously, pressure is being put on this mayor to walk us through what we can likely see as this unfolds, because it doesn't look good for him.
Well, you
need to have a good exit for him. I'm sensing that you got to find a way for him to leave with grace in about 15 seconds.
I don't know if he's going to leave with grace, just being honest with you. Based on his own statements, he doesn't plan on resigning. So at this point, my main perspective is to try to find a way to work with them in order to make sure that the Ecuadorian community in East Haven isn't afraid to leave their home anymore. So I'm taking more of a watchdog role, and the commission as well. That's our main focus right now.
We'll be on it too. Thanks for your time, both of you. Good to have you back. When we come back, folks, Hartford Courant Capitol Bureau Chief Chris Keating will tell us whether two former Connecticut politicians, one of whom was recently incarcerated, can get back in the political game. You are watching the Stan Simpson Show. Catch us online 24/7 at ctnow.com/Stan. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Don't go away.